Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, or night, or whatever. I'm actually filming this in the middle of the afternoon, on a Thursday. Why am I filming this in the middle of the afternoon on a Thursday, and why am I not at work? Well, that I will explain at the end of the video, so please, if you're interested in gear from me, if you're interested in buying anything or just interested in viewing it or anything like that, please stick around till the end, because there's news, big news and good news for everybody who is ordering gear from me. And it also explains why I've been a bit sort of not really onto the orders and things like this, and not really been very, answering as quick as I should, and there's messages building up that I haven't answered, and this will all explain. I'll also explain the fact that I'm turning into a teenager again, and I seem to have this nice diamond of spots there on my forehead. I'm trying to hide it with the cap, but clearly I'm turning back into a teenager again. So this video is the video that should have been last weekend, which was the Q&A that I said I was going to do. I did get enough questions in the end, so thank you for everybody who asked questions. I've got quite a few. I've got them all printed out here. So we're going to do the Q&A, then we're going to do the news part of it. So please stick around for that part of the video. Okay, so Q&A, let's go. Okay, so the first question. I'm not going to say anyone's names because I don't know if anyone wanted me to say their names, so rather than ask everybody, I'm just not going to say names. You know who you are. So question, what is the usual turnaround for gear from order to finish, and do you have any requests when someone orders? So the turnaround really is all dependent on the current list. The current system, it's not an ideal system, and I need to change that, but that again, that will fall part of at the end of this video. The turnaround, at the moment, it's long. It's very long. At the start of the week, I had 18 requests on my Instagram. I cleared them all off. Then the next day I had 20, so I cleared them off. And then I looked again today and I have another 18. So yeah, and it is me, only me, in this little workshop. So turnaround, it's not ideal at the minute, but I know that a lot of that's on me. I need to sort of come up with a better system than what I've got at the moment. Do you have any requests when someone orders? Yeah, mostly I need as much information as you can give me on what you want. I know a lot of people say, I want a pair of trunks, and okay, but what's on the trunks, what colour, what fabric, what size, what designs, what patterns, text, whatever you want. Do you want a belt? Do you not want a belt? Do you want a tie belt loop, or do you want a button pop? Or there's a lot of so information as much as, and I always ask for a sketch of where you want everything placed, because it's okay to say I want a pair of trunks with red stripes and a dragon and stars or whatever, but I need to know where they are and what size they're going to be. So a little sketch. I mean, a professional design, if you've been to a professional designer, great. That's ideal, but literally it can be the worst and most rubbish sketch you can possibly come up with. That's absolutely fine, as long as I can see where everything goes. That's the main thing. And then, of course, it comes to fonts. Do you have any particular font? Do you have your own logo? I do request any logos or any main design. I do request a high resolution version of that, because I need to cut it on the cutter, and if it's a really low resolution, it's going to cut all jaggedy and it's not going to look nice. So I do ask for the high resolution on your logos. So yeah, turnaround at the moment, struggling to get everything in, but like I say, stick till the end, because I can answer more of that question at the end. So next one, how do you recommend I wash the gear from you the material is spandex. Yeah, so with spandex, simple as cold water in a bowl or in the sink and hand washed. No detergent, no softener, no cleaning products, no warm water, no hot water. Certainly don't put it in the washing machine, and certainly don't pour washing powder all over it. You want cool water or cold water, tap water, room temperature, whatever you want to call it, in a bowl, and you just want to sort of squeeze it, rub it, don't wring it out, don't sit there wringing it out like this, because you might stretch. Just, be gentle with it. That's about the best you can do. And you can change the water in between, and so, it is coming up with clean water at the end of it. But yeah, it's very simple. Just don't wash it in anything that could damage it. Nice cool water, clean water, and keep changing the water throughout the cycle. What technique do you use to sew this part of the kick pad? There was a picture. The ankle stitch. Well, okay, yeah, the ankle stitch, yeah. That's the ankle stitch. Really with that, it is just absolute patience and determination and concentration, and there is no actual technique. I sew it on my sewing machine. I use a leather needle. That's about the only difference I use is a leather needle. I use regular thread. And I suppose the technique is really, really slow. Really slow. And you've got to help that pad through the machine. You can't just let the machine take it, because it's not going to take it. Don't pull it. Don't pull the pad either way, any way. You can't pull it even a millimetre, because it bends the needle, and then the needle hits the plate on the bottom of the sewing machine, and your machine, on mine, it just goes mental when you do that, and it starts clicking and going mad, and I have to turn it off quickly before it breaks the needle. So it really is just slow, steady, and you might have to sort of, as it stitches, it won't catch the bottom thread. 9 times out of 10 it's not going to catch the bottom thread. The needle's just going to keep going up, and then nothing's going to stitch. So hold it in that position, let it pick up that bottom thread. Once it's picked up that bottom thread, you can move it forward a little bit and keep doing that. For one pair of kick pads with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, 5 spines, whatever you want to call them, these bits, that can take me forever to do that. It can take me an hour and a half sometimes just to stitch that one piece there. It can be a real nightmare. But yeah, you can buy, I do have a leather sewing machine. It's a hand crank leather sewing machine which will sew literally anything. It will go through car tyres, it will sew anything. But I haven't set it up yet because I need to motorise it, because I need 2 hands when I'm doing the kick pads, and I can't hand crank it whilst I'm feeding it through. It's actually on my wall. I'll do a separate video on that. When the time comes for me to motorise it and use it, I'll do a separate video on that. But yeah, if you're using a normal machine, I'm afraid the technique is just perseverance, patience, and try not to scream or smash your sewing machine up while you're doing it, because it can be infuriating. Right, let's have another one. How did you get started? I've made a few wrestling gears for Halloween and always found it fun. I'd love to start making some. Any advice would be great. I got started through a conversation with a wrestler. We were talking about it, and I've been able to sew, little bits. I've done a few costumes. Actually, on my Instagram, if you scroll down my Instagram, there's actually the Jon Snow outfit I made for my son. And there's also a Splatoon, that game Splatoon. I made a costume. So I've always sort of been able to make something. And it was only talking about it that, you want to start making wrestling gear. It's a good, there's people always looking for good wrestling gear makers. And I started by just making a trunk pattern, for a pair of trunks. I did I make it from scratch? I can't remember, or did I buy one and then, or, you know, anyway, I ended up making a pair of trunks. And you can go right back down to the very start of my Instagram. You'll see the very first pairs of trunks I made, and they're actually for Trent and Tyler, Mustache Mountain. I made it for them. And there was things I did wrong. I know now there was things I did wrong, but I made them my first ever pair of trunks. I made a couple of sample pieces first, sample trunks, and I sent them off to wrestlers and just sort of said, try them on, do they work? And they came back, no, they don't work. So I went back to the drawing board and did it again. And eventually they said, yeah, these are great, these fit, this is perfect. Excuse me. And then when I made the proper pair for them, I sent them off to Mustache Mountain and I said, hello, my name's, you know, I'm Lee, Black Country Beast, blah, 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 blah. I've made you some trunks, you know, try them on, wear them if you want, don't if you don't. And they actually wore them live on a WWE match, which was absolutely insane for the first thing that you ever make to go straight onto WWE, which terrified the life out of me. I couldn't watch the match because I thought, oh God, you know, this is the first pair. What if something happens? What if something goes wrong? But no, they worked, and that was it. From that day, it just grew and grew and grew, and I learned so many more techniques and put loads of other sewing skills in, you know, into practice, because, you know, sewing wrestling gear, it does have its own individual ways of doing things, but it also has, you know, fundamental sewing practices, you know, involved in it as well. So, you know, you don't have to. If you know, you know, if you're a dressmaker or a trailer or a tailor, you can make wrestling gear, because some of the techniques are the same. Like the binding video I did on YouTube, if you know, that's a commonplace sewing technique in all kinds of clothing. So, an advice for making: learn how to use your fabric. Get good fabric. Don't buy cheap. Definitely don't buy cheap. Cheap spandex doesn't work. Buy good spandex. All my spandex and all my fabric is top quality. I make sure that I buy the top quality stuff, and even the vinyl, if I have to use vinyl, I buy thick, real heavy duty, thick, good quality vinyl that I know is not going to break or snap or yeah, and just have fun and be patient, because it takes forever. You know, I mean, if you look at like Pete Dunne's bear, you know, all those little bits have to be cut and stuck down and sewn on, and you know, you need to have a lot of patience. You need to enjoy it. You definitely need to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, it's not going to be any fun, because it's hard work, it's long work. You can spend hours on just one little logo, just making sure one little logo is stitched in. You can spend hours on that, you know. And so yeah, but advice: go on my YouTube channel. If you're the person who sent this question is watching this, go on my YouTube channel, because there's loads of techniques on there and loads of ways to handle spandex, and there's other things, making belts and, you know, making bindings and things like that. So I've also, the full build of Pete Dunne's, one of Pete Dunne's outfits is on there. So yeah, go on there. Yeah. How many orders do you get a week? Well, at the moment, more than I can handle. But again, stick around till the end, because at the end, that's going to explain a lot about orders and where I am at the moment. I can get 40 orders a week, or I can get less than that, or I can get more. I get a lot of orders, let's put it that way, and I appreciate, absolutely love it. It's great. And again, at the end of the video, you'll find out why it's great that I get so many orders. So please stick around till the end. So how many do I get a week? Loads is the answer to that one. Any tips on making kick pads? I'm going to be doing a video on that. I'm not going to answer that, because that's like a whole thing in itself. Kick pads are a really like specific beast, you know. They are completely on their own, you know, and as regards a technique for sewing. They don't fall into any category of sewing, you know, tights, trunks, tops, coats. They are an entity all of themselves, and I've worked really, really hard to get my kick pads, you know, right. They're not 100%. I know they're not, but I'm making them 100%. There's new things I'm doing on the news. I'll be doing on new sets, which I haven't done before. nothing wrong with my kick pads. I wouldn't sell them if there was, but I want my kick pads to be the best kick pads because they are horrible to make. They are hard. They are just from start to finish. They're difficult, which is why I can't really go into it on a Q&A. It is a whole other video, and I will be doing that video. Absolutely, will be doing that video. But once I'm happy with my technique 100%, then I will do my kick pad making video. I like the challenge of them because from start to finish you are fighting them from start to finish. But when they're done, when they're done and you can see them and they're all done and they work and everything's nice and tidy and neat, you get satisfaction on that. So a whole video coming on that, I promise. When someone places an order with you, do you automatically make them a double layer trunk or tight, or do you do single layer unless they specify they want double layer? I only add a lining, a double layer in trunks, and I do that for the reason that because they are basically an underpant, and I double layer them because of you don't want anything to sort of pop out, if you get my drift. So I double layer them so the wrestler wearing them doesn't have to wear pants underneath. I know a lot of wrestlers do still wear pants underneath, even though I double layer them, but I double layer them so you don't have to. Now with tights and shorts and things like that, they're long, they hold everything in, everything's there anyway, and you can put pants on. You're not going to see the pants because there's the legs are full. Even shorts, they get into the thighs or whatever. So really, the double layer comes for you don't have to wear underpants with my trunks, and I do that on all trunks regardless of price or cost or whatever the quote is or who you are, where you are in your career. You will always get a double layer in trunks because I just think it looks nice. It finishes them off, and you can request a different colour in there. If you want red layer. I try to match the lining as best I can with with the trunk themselves, but most of the time it's just going to be a black because you don't want to. I started doing really colourful linings, and then as they were sort of folding during the match, you could start to see the colour coming through, and I didn't like that. So I do tend to stick with the base colour of the trunk. So if it's a white pair of trunks, you'll have a white lining. If it's a black pair of trunks, you'll have a black lining, unless specified. But yeah, the double layer is trunks only. I wouldn't recommend double layer in tights because I think that'd be too thick. They'd be really thick because, as they say, my spandex is high quality anyway. So I wouldn't recommend somebody has double layer on tights because it's going to be uncomfortable. I wouldn't double layer a singlet because it's going to be too bulky. You want to keep it nice and flat to the body. So yeah, trunks only. How do you get measurements for the person? Do they measure themselves? I've had a few times where the customer oh, sorry, that's me, I can't read. I've had a few times where the customer measures wrong. What do you do, / or would you do in that instance? Yeah, okay, that's a good question. That's obviously coming from somebody who also makes gear. Measurements, I have a form, like a sheet, that I send out with all the measurements that I need, and it's got it's 2 pages, and it's got all the different measurements that I need. I over measure, and I think that's important. If you look online at how to measure for a pair of trousers, there's not as many measurements as I ask for. I ask for a lot of measurements. I think I'm not sure, there's over 10 measurements that I ask for tights. Trunks obviously is slightly different. But measurements, you have to rely on the customer to do that. You can, I've had people come in, because there's people who live near me, they will come in, and I'm quite happy to measure somebody here in the shop. I'd rather do that because I know it's right. But you have got to rely on the customer to do it right, and as long as I've sent my measurements out and asked for the correct measurements, I 9 times out of 10, it works. It's right. I know exactly. They don't. It's done right. But if it's not done right, then that's between you and the customer. It depends on the level of work that's going to be needed in order to correct it, whether or not I would then have to add an additional charge on. If it's completely wrong, they've completely measured wrong, and it's basically a remaking of those tights or trunks or whatever, then you do have to you would have to recharge on that. Maybe not full price, but I'd certainly would have to add a charge. But if it's something like the waist is a little bit big and you've just got to take it in, you're not going to charge anybody for that. Just send it back and I'll sort it. Or if the ankles are a little bit too big or they're a little bit baggy around the thighs, just send, I'm not going to charge anyone for that kind of thing, but I will charge for completely wrong measurements, if something's completely wrong. And again, it's between you and the customer, you work that out between yourselves. I hate working with shiny stretch vinyl because it sticks to my presser foot. I see everyone using it. Is there a tip for making this stuff not be annoying? Yeah. Yeah, that also works. That's also faux leather is also something that sticks. And I had some pair of knee pads that used shiny vinyl, and oh my god, yeah, you're so right. It is so annoying that it sticks to the foot. But I'm gonna cure all of your problems right now. Talcum powder. Dust your fabric with talcum powder. Dust your foot of your sewing machine with talcum powder. Done. It'll never stick again. And then at the end of the job, just clean everything with a wet cloth, and it comes back up perfectly fine. If any fabric's sticking, dust it with talcum powder. I have this, my little pot of talcum powder and a makeup brush. This is my anti-stick kit. Dip it in, dust it all over, blow it off. It'll never stick again. Promise you. You have my word on that. Easy one. Okay. We are coming up to the last few questions now. These ones are a bit more like of a personal question rather than sewing wise. Do you have a nickname from childhood? Well, my last name is Cox, so Coxie was always a nickname. Leaf as well, I was called at school, Leaf or Coxie, and my dad always called me Billy, even though my name is Lee and he named me Lee. He used to call me Billy all the time. So Billy, Leaf, and Coxie. Oh, and Billy Skin. I used to have a friend who called me Billy Skin because my dad used to call me Billy Skin as well, but then my friend pinched it and Billy Skin, Billy, Leaf, and Coxie. They are my nicknames from childhood, from what I can remember. I probably had a lot worse ones than that at school, but they probably weren't nicknames, more insults. So, was you ever in a band? Yes, I was in a band. Lots and lots of bands. I played guitar for years in metal bands when I was younger. Yeah, great times. Many bands, many gigs. I sang and played guitar in some of those bands as well. Yeah, they were good times. There's actually a photo on my Instagram of me in the band. If you scroll down, a friend sent it to me. With the drummer from my band sent it me, and it's like me about 12, with trying to look completely rock and roll with my one of my favourite guitars that I ever had. Is it a Washburn? Was that the Washburn? What Dimebag Darrell used to play in Pantera? I had one of those. Cost me an absolute fortune. I had it imported. Was it Washburn? I might be wrong on that, but yeah. Dimebag Darrell's guitar, the one with the lightning on it, the blue one. I used to have one of them. I love that guitar. So yeah, many bands and many good times in those bands and fun in those bands. I've actually started picking up the guitar again over the last few years, but more kind of country folky kind of finger picking style, which I really enjoy playing now. And I'm also sort of, as you probably may have seen, I'm restoring a harp because I want to learn the harp. So I bought this sort of harp that was a bit sort of beaten and battered, and I've been restoring that. You may have seen it on my story, what I've been doing on that. So yeah, was in bands, and I've always liked music, and I will always play music because I love playing music, especially the guitar, and hopefully the harp if I can get on with that. What was the first and last gig you ever went to? Oh, I'm pretty sure the first gig I ever went to was a festival. Was it Donington? I'm sure it was Donington. And I was really young, and I went with a load of friends and got way too drunk for my age. Yeah, and I remember we all stayed in a big 20-man army tent. It was, and I remember being really hungover. I think that was the first gig. I'm not sure if that was the first one. I think it was, because I went kind of like wild because I was out and free. And yeah, drank way too much and ruined the whole festival because I just felt like trash for days afterwards. I mean, when I say I got drunk. So yeah, and I remember Metallica were headlining. I definitely remember Metallica were headlining. I don't remember who else was playing, but it was definitely, I'm sure it was Donington, and Metallica were headlining. That was the first gig. What was the last one I went to? I think the last gig I went to was Tori Amos at the Symphony Hall in Birmingham. Yeah, I think it was Tori Amos, which was just mind-blowing because I love Tori Amos so much, and to actually see her play was amazing. Just her and a piano. There was no one else, no band. It was, and if you've been to the Symphony Hall, the acoustics are amazing. So a bit of a contrast from my first gig to my last, which was Metallica to Tori Amos. Yeah, it was Tori Amos. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I've just booked tickets actually for Ivor, who's playing. I love Ivor. If you've never listened to Ivor, please go and listen to Ivor. She's amazing. I've just booked tickets for her in London in October, which was nice to do after all this lockdown. It's been nice to actually plan something, which was awesome. So yeah, Metallica and Tori Amos. We got 2 more questions. What was my first job? My first ever job, I worked making roller shutters, you know, those metal shutters on buildings. And I'd come straight from school. No, sorry. My first ever job, I was helping lay cable TV in the ground. I was working with my dad. Sort of like, just a little like part-time thing after school. That was the first ever job. Quite enjoyed that. It was hard work, but it was a good laugh. But the real proper first job was making roller shutter doors, and that was horrendous. That was the worst experience of my life. They were just bullies. They bullied me. I was really young. They bullied me. They used to like attack you, and you know, they thought they were being funny, but it was horrible. You know, coming from school to that. They'd make me sneak out of work and go and get up the shop for them. You know, I mean, you know, thinking now I wouldn't put up with that now, but yeah, that was a horrible job. And I've had many other jobs from that, but yeah, that was the first one. I tell you, I didn't even last a week, and I didn't even go back for my money. I just could not wait to get out of there. It was a horrendous place, horrible working conditions, horrible job. Yeah, so do well at school, kids, because that's the kind of thing you have to go to if you don't. And the last one, before the big news, is: have you ever wrestled yourself? No. I've probably wrestled for fun when I was a kid with a friend or with my brother or something, but I've never wrestled. No. And I remember back in the day, like when The Rock and all that was really at the height. We used to go to the wrestling matches and spent sits up all night making the signs, and we did the eyebrow thing where we shaved our eyebrow off and we drew, you know, The Rock does his eyebrow. We did that. We'd go and do all that, and we'd make all the signs. But no, I've never done it. I actually suffer with a curve. I've got a slight curve to my spine, and I've also got sciatica. I've got two discs that are out of place in my spine. So I can't really, I don't think it would be a very good idea for me to wrestle, to be honest. And I am 41 now, and I think that's probably a bit late for me to start learning. No, I would actually like to sort of go to a training place and just have a day and just, you know, have a bit of mess, you know, with someone showing me, and, you know, have a bit of a laugh, you know, not to seriously take it up, but, you know, just to be in the ring and, you know, be shown a couple of things, and that'd be quite cool. I'd quite like that at some point. I'd actually make if that ever happens, we'll do a video on that. That'd be quite fun. But no, I've never wrestled myself. No. I would have liked. Probably, I wonder why I never have, because we're really into it when, you know, really you know, like insanely into it when I was younger. But no, never have myself. No. So, but I could still have a little play one day in the future. So, yeah, and I think that's it. That's it. That's all the questions asked. So yeah, thank you for that. Sorry it's a bit late, but as you will see in a minute, you'll understand why that's a little bit late. So I do urge you to stick around. Thank you for all your questions. There will be more videos coming. I guarantee you that now. There will be more videos coming. I want to do more big builds, full builds, like a full pair of trunks from start to finish, a full pair of tights from start to finish. You know, things like that. I want to work on. I've also got some jobs. Well, a job coming up, hopefully, which is really cool. It's using techniques that I'm not sure if even any wrestler has ever used in their gear. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, but if it works, it's going to be so cool. And I will definitely be videoing that one. So thank you for your questions. Sorry it's been a bit late, but stick around, because I'm now going to cut to the news. So the news. The news is, how I work now in wrestling gear is I have a full-time job. And I do that, and then I come home and I do, you know, spend time with the family and do the house things and do the tea and, you know, all the usual things. And then later on in the evening, when sort of everyone starts settling down, I come up and I do a couple of hours up here, and then I go back down and have an hour or so before bed, and then I get up and do it all again. And that's the way I'll work. That is okay. Was okay when, in the early days, when the orders were, you know, trickling in. Now that the orders are sort of like flooding in, and I mean like tsunami flooding in, it's a little bit more tricky to keep up. So what I'm ending up doing is, I had this list that I add everyone on, and it just becomes this endless list where I never ever seem to get to the end of anything. It never seems to go down, and people are waiting on it, and people saying, you know, where am I on the list? It's not a viable solution anymore for the way that this business has gone. So what's going to be happening in the next week or so? I am no longer employed at the job that I was at as of today, which is why I'm filming this in the middle of the day on a Thursday, because I no longer I'm no longer at work, let's put it that way, and I am not going to be at work, which means I'm going to be doing this from now on. That is the plan. It's a trial period, because I've got to make sure it works, because I've got a house, a mortgage, I've got a family. It's a trial. It's a 2-month trial. I'm going to be dedicating my working day to gear. That is what I am now. I will be, for the next few months, a self-employed wrestling gear maker. And yeah, it's quite frightening in a way. It's a little bit nervy. It's exciting. I want to do it. I really want to. But you know, I always had those little doubts. But what about this and what about that? But I'm in a position now for the next few months where I can trial it in relative safety, in security. So yeah, so as of this day, you are now looking at me as a fully, what's the word I'm looking for? As a full-time wrestling gear maker, which is going to mean that I'm going from 2 hours a day to 8 hours a day. And that means I'm going to be able to get through all my orders quicker. I'm going to be able to get through my jobs quicker. I'm going to be able to take on more jobs. And I'm going to be able to answer my messages and keep in contact with you all more effectively, because I can now do that of an evening. When I'm finished here, I can go down to the house. And when we're relaxing, watching telly, I can then go through my messages. This is the way it is now. By the time I get back down there, it's really late at night. And then I have to start messaging. And then I try to do it the next day, but I'm at work. You can't sit there on your phone at work. So that's why I don't answer as well as I should. The way I take jobs needs to change as well. There'll be a couple of changes with the way I do things. Don't worry, if you're in a, you know, if I've accepted gear, you'll stay in your place. It'll just be a different way of doing it. I need to find a new way of taking orders, because this current way, it's not achievable. It stresses me out. It's no good for you guys, because you guys are waiting, and I'm saying it's going to be this day, and then I get to that day and I say, oh no, well no, it's not, because you know I'm nowhere near you, you know, and I thought I was, but I'm not. I can't keep doing the orders the way I'm doing it. Not as a business, not as a proper business. You know, you wouldn't do, you know, no other business would take their jobs in that way. I don't know whether I don't want to take out the personal element. I like to speak to you, I like to message you, but it may be that the actual official order, so, you know, talk to me on Instagram, tell me your ideas, but then the actual official order will be on some sort of online form or something. I need to look at different packages and different softwares that do that kind of thing. So, you know, you guys are filling out your information, your sizes, your design, you're uploading your pictures, blah blah blah, and then it goes to this, you know, some central place where I can then go on and look, you know, at those orders. That takes away me having to sort of keep messaging for days and days and days, and never getting, you know, getting somewhere very slowly. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, because literally, like I'm saying, this is day one. You know, I was at work yesterday. I'm not now. That's how quick this is. So I'm using the weekend, like today I've just done a bit in the garden, you know, just and I'll work tonight like normal. Tomorrow I'm going to have another little day, because it's been, you know, leaving work, and I've been there for 11 years. It's, you know, I need to get my head together. You know, I'm still a bit sort of like, doesn't quite seem real at the moment, but you know, I need a few days basically. So from Monday, I feel the weekend, I'm going to be able to sort of get my head into it and have a plan, and then start from Monday working full time down here, at least for a few months, and then see if it's working, to see if if I can cover everything I need to cover basically when those 4 months end. So yeah, so a lot of the questions about sort of turnaround and stuff like that, which is what I said on the Q&A just, you know, it's difficult to say that, because at the moment turnaround is just, you know, how long is a piece of string, you know what I mean? But I can't run a business like that. It needs to be more structured than that. I need to have a better structure of how I do my jobs. Do I do them on a monthly basis? Do I have so many jobs that month, and there's so many jobs this month? I don't know. Do I do sort of a batch of trunks, a batch of tights, a batch of kick pads? You know, I like I say, I don't know yet, but it will happen. Well, it is happening. It's happened. I am now a full-time wrestling gear maker, and yeah, pretty scary, but looking forward to it as well. you know, where do I want it to go? I want it to what's the future? The future is, you know, keep working here in the shop. See where it goes. Can I turn this into a bigger and bigger business? Can I take on other seamsters? Can I take on other people? Can we make this a proper business with employees and, you know, go and maybe then move out and actually rent a unit, you know, rather than have a, you know, working in the garden? That's the plan. That's the goal. But one step at a time. Let's see how this goes first. So for all you people waiting, for all you people who are, you know, probably frustrated, I know there's a lot of people who are going to be frustrated with me at the moment. I hope you appreciate that. You know, I've had a lot to sort of get my head around the last few days, which is why I've been a bit all over the shop. And, you know, I'm on my own, working 2 hours a day. It's hard to maintain that. I don't want this to become a stress, so I'm hoping the more time it will allow me to do one. It's gonna allow me to get through orders quicker. It's gonna give me that freedom. I haven't got to worry about work. I've got to go to work. Got to go to work. Got to get home. Got to rush down the log cabin. Got to wake up in the morning on a Saturday morning, rush down the log cabin, do a bit. You know, that's not I can't maintain that kind of level of intensity with it all the time, because it's going to end up becoming a stress, and I don't want it to be a stress. I enjoy doing this, and I want to carry on enjoy doing it. It also allows me to go further into the YouTube side of things, to do more videos. You know, I don't just want to do like, oh, how to do this, how to do that, how to do this, how to do that. You know, they're good videos, but I don't want people to get bored of it. So I'm looking at maybe there's other things I could do. Maybe I could get, you know, some of the guys, the WWE guys down here. We could interview and chat and, you know, and ask some questions, and you guys can submit questions, and we'll, you know, and stuff like that. But that's all, you know, that's all up in the air, you know. But there definitely will be more YouTubing, because I'll have that time to do it now. You know, if I finish my 8 hours, I can then sort of say, well, I'm going to spend another hour doing it, you know, starting another video. So there'll be more videos. The YouTube channel will grow, and hopefully the community around Black Country Beast designs will grow. So yeah, to have your guys' support on that as well, and any help, you know, if there's anything you want to say, oh well, I know of this piece of software, or you could do it like this, or why don't you do it? You know, please, you know, drop it in the comments on YouTube, on Instagram. You know, I want to try and make this a community of us. You know, you guys out there wrestling, me making it. You know, I don't just want this to be me sitting in here, you know, on my own, day in, day out, just making gear. It'd be nice to have, you know, that community, maybe some live streams, you know, some live, you know, stuff like that. You know, I want to try and make this a successful community / business, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment, and that might explain a little bit why I've been a bit kind of absent over the last few weeks, because this is, you know, this has been coming for a while, but it all of a sudden came up on me. I didn't expect it to be today, so let's just say that. I'm not going to go into the details, because it's private between me and my employer. But yeah, that's it. That's where I am. So I hope you've watched this. I hope everyone's watched this to the end. I know it's been a long old video, but please, you know, thank you if you have watched it, and I hope you understand. And I'm going to keep posting it and urging people, watch the video, because it does affect it, you know, everyone who's inquiring for gear. And on that, then I'm going to leave, because this has been going on long enough, and yeah, I'm going to leave. So thank you for all your orders. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for putting up with me and my, you know, my never-ending list of, which is, you know, thank you anyway. Let's work this together. Let's work together. Let's keep this community going, and let's see how far we can go, how far I can go, and how much I can do for you guys to keep you kitted out, and keep moving on up, and let's see where this ends. So yeah, on that, I'm going to go. Goodbye, and have a good day or evening or morning or whatever it is you are. And I will definitely be seeing you again soon.